এক মিনিট। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ স্যার, হ্যাঁ মানে আমি কোয়েশ্চেন্স গুলো মানে বাংলাতেই মানে করব নাকি মানে ইংলিশে করব?
তোমার যাতে ইচ্ছা।
ঠিক আছে স্যার। হ্যাঁ তো yeah yeah so can you please give a brief uh, introduction of yourself, sir?
Oh, I was your teacher. That's the introduction.
Yes, sir. No, uh, means your name and those things.
You can ask more specific question, like for example, well, asking my name probably is not very relevant. You can write it on the screen if you want, but yeah, like, do you want to know about my educational history or my
Yes, sir.
employment
Yes, sir.
history or something? Okay.
Yes, sir. Please tell that.
So at my school level, I was a student at BE College Model School. BE College, is the Bengal Engineering College, although the name did not uh, stay with it. Now it's called something different. But anyway, the school was called Bengal Engineering College Model School, from where I did my higher secondary. In our time, there was no secondary exam, so it was only higher secondary exam. So then I went to Presidency College to study physics honors, and after that to Calcutta University for my MSc, and then I went to Carnegie Mellon University for my PhD, and I finished my PhD in 1983. Okay, so that is my education history.
Yes, sir. Thank
Okay.
you. And before I proceed, I want to say that I work as a volunteer from this TISA group. TISA group stands for the Indian.
It's T, right? T.
Yeah,
T.
TISA.
Hmm.
Stammering Association. And since I face this problem of stammering, they have given me this core task of interviewing my professors, my teachers, and strangers. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and that's it. And yeah, So may I begin the questions?
You are welcome. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank
And first of all, let me tell you one thing.
you. Yes, sir.
You understand that stammering is no crime or nothing, outrageous. Okay, it happens almost in every family, even in my family. You know, there are people who. So I mean, there is nothing and I mean, in some sense, we all sometimes are in loss of words. I mean,
Yes,
even
sir.
though that will probably not be called official stammering. So yeah, go ahead and ask your questions. Yeah, don't feel.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, My first question is that uh, what do you think about stammering, and what could be the reason behind it?
The reason, I don't know. This is a must be a physiological question, and my knowledge of biology is less than zero. Okay. I mean, let me tell you that in in my time in high school, at class 9, we had to decide whether we want to take science courses or humanities and things like that, right? So I took science, but in science there was physics, chemistry, and mathematics, which were compulsory. But then there was another subject which in our time was called the fourth subject, that was either biology or mechanics. Okay, I had absolutely no idea what mechanics is at that time. Well, I learned later, but I said, oh, okay, no biology. I had to take mechanics. Okay, whatever it is. So I took mechanics. So yeah, I will not be able to answer your question about what's the reason, but about my general view about stammering is that it's a speech problem, certainly, of some sort, and we all have our shares of problems, sometimes ill formed limbs, sometimes with eye or ear, which are very common, and stammering is a similar problem, nothing less, nothing more.
Yes, sir.
And I think you should also feel that way. I mean, you should feel okay. I stammer, but so what?
Huh. Uh, Before joining my masters, like uh, what I did is that that time, like I was completely mute person, and during the first part of the masters too, uh, uh, well, I continued that, and then I took a counseling therapy, and then my mindset changed a bit. That yes, uh, that I can't hide this problem forever, and this is the perfect time to face this problem.
I'm very glad to hear that you have taken this decision, and it's a very good decision. And the way you are speaking now, I mean, if I hadn't known about it previously and if you hadn't told me about it, I would have easily classified it as a speaking style where you stop and look for words, gasp for words. I mean, that happens with many people. I should tell you that I had one uncle. I mean, uncle is such a generic word in English that you can understand. After saying uncles, it almost makes us feel a little bit dissatisfied that we haven't. Anyway, probably I don't want to be more specific than that. Who also had a stammering problem. Okay, but there are many people in our extended family who did not even know about it. The reason is that he made it into a speaking style. Okay, he would say, while I was, and he will go like this. So it was almost like a style. So I would, the way you are speaking now, I could easily think that it's a speaking style, and that that is nice. Yeah.
uh, uh, and uh, that time when you called me during the class, and like I was like
Silent.
yeah. Yeah, so what did you feel at that time?
How did I feel?
Yeah.
Well, I did not, of course, know anything why you were not answering. So I thought that you do not know the answer to the question I asked. I really forgot what's the question that I had asked, but I assume that you did not know the answer to that question. But I thought that in that case you should have said that I don't know the answer. Okay, so I expected you to at least say that, which
Yes, sir.
did not happen, of course. Okay, now I know why it did not happen, because you wrote an email to me after
Yes,
that,
sir. Yes, sir.
and which explained. Uh, but that was all. I mean, I didn't think about any more explanation at that time.
Uh, yes, sir. Yeah. Uh, so my next question is that what would you do if your child stammers?
Well, at my age, what would I do if my child is not a good question, because my children are now, they are older than you. So, so you would have asked if my grandchild stammers or something like
Yes.
that. Yeah. Well, first of all, uh, let me go back to one question that you had asked before, the reason for stammering. Okay, there is at least one case where I feel, I'm not sure if it's correct, because as I said, I don't know any physiology to support my feeling, but I have a feeling that there was this person who was born naturally left-handed.
Hmm.
But in many of the older cultures, including ours, left-handedness is seen as an odd thing. Okay, and I mean, people tried to correct him, so to say. Although there was nothing to be corrected, he was left-handed, so he was left-handed. But people tried to make him right-handed, and that created a sort of a mental block in his case, which might have contributed to his stammering. But as I said, this is a feeling. I have no way to justify this feeling. So now to come back to your present question, I would first try to find out whether there is anything, I mean, where elder people are putting restrictions on this child for some reason, whether it's for left-handedness or for any other thing. Don't do this, don't do that, blah 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 blah, etc. Okay, so if there are mental restrictions put on a child, my feeling is that that can also produce, uh, I mean, that can also reflect on the child's speech. So I would first try to remove that kind of restriction if I can find one. Okay, other than that, I really don't know what to do except for two things. One is to go to a therapy thing like you have done, which is a very good thing you have done. And the second thing is I will ask the child to learn music. I have never seen a person stammer while singing. Do you know this? Did you notice this? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah. So I will definitely ask the guardians of the child to give the child singing lessons, so that the child knows that it is possible for him or her to pronounce things without stammering. Okay,
Yes, sir.
and that will give the child more confidence, I think. Okay, so these are the two things I know. But now you can teach us more. I'm willing to learn more. Okay, if you.
Yes, sir. Uh, uh, basically, this TISA is uh, non-profit organization,
Mhm.
they do not provide this therapy, but they push us to the public and
Yeah. Yeah.
tell
That's a
us to
wise
talk.
thing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 That's a wise thing to do. Yeah.
yes, sir. And this stammering is basically like it's uh, 1% neurobiological uh, uh, glitch, and the rest of this um, develops due to the fear, shame, guilt,
Yes.
humiliation.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that is what stammering
I
is.
must say, yeah, I must say that this about this 99% lot, of course, the first 1% that you said, I mean, that's physiology. Okay, that we cannot do anything about. If a person is born with it, the person is born with it, and
Yes, sir.
one will have to learn to deal with it. Okay. But the other 99% can be considerably improved from both sides, the person who is stammering and the person who are listening
Yes, sir.
to this person. Okay, in 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 our society, I must say there is not much, um, how should I say, I mean, there is not much uh, uh, I mean, the feeling towards disabilities, I don't think it's a very healthy one. I mean, I have seen. I mean, let's not talk about stammering so that we can talk more, on equal terms. I mean, I have seen person who have some brain difficulties. Okay, and people laughing. I have seen these things. People laughing at this person, and people, even sometimes throwing dirt at the person and so on and so on. I mean, these are extremely unkind things. I remember once when I was I think high school student or early college student. There was one person like this in our locality, and there was such a thing happened. I was coming on a bicycle and I saw that some people are doing this, and then I remembered that I got down from the bicycle and I just embraced him, and I said, "Okay, what do you want to say to him now? Tell me." And these people all then sort of left. Okay, but there are people like this, who, I mean, I don't know, this is the disease. This is the disease.
Yes,
Stammering
sir.
is not the disease. Mental handicap is not the disease. That is the disease. That's the social disease.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I really don't know how to cure that, but I wish I knew.
Yes, sir. True. Yeah. Uh, uh, when I was a child, and when I first stammered, my friends and few teachers uh, laughed at me, and my friends told that they don't want to talk with me, and that thing, I think.
This is what I'm saying. You see, I'm feeling so sorry to hear this. I know it happens, but anytime I hear of one more case of it happening, it really, literally brings tears to my eyes, and it's so bad. It's so bad. I don't know.
Sir, and basically there are three kinds of uh, responses to a thing. The
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the first thing is flight. The uh, second thing is uh, fight, flight, and freeze. Yeah, and
Okay.
the thing which I did was the third thing, that is the freeze
You
thing.
froze. Yeah.
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 Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It can happen.
Yes, sir.
It can happen. Yeah.
Yeah. It- um, um, my uh, uh, next question is that uh, yeah, so uh, what do you think that starters should do to help themselves?
Um. I mean, first of all, as we discussed before, it's it's good to take some therapy and learn singing and this kind of thing, so that there is more confidence which grows in the person. But then also, I think there is a mental state that has to be developed, where you wouldn't care so much if people are laughing at you. I mean, as I said, if some person is laughing at you, that person has a disease. This
Yes.
is this is what you'll have to convince yourself. Okay, and so, I mean, we're saying this. I know it's not easy. It doesn't happen overnight. Yes, everything granted, but we'll have to try.
Yes, sir.
We'll have to try and try to get as close to that state as possible.
Yes,
That's
sir.
that's the
Definitely.
thing to do.
I I have. Um, my um, fourth question is that if you have a business, would you like to hire a stammerer? Why and why not?
Okay. First of all, I don't have a business and I will not have. Okay. You know that very well. Okay. But let's talk. Let's assume that we are thinking what a business person would do. Now, in any business, or not only business, in any kind of work that is not done on a personal basis but in a cooperative way, in any kind of work, you try to see what a particular person is suited for and what the particular person can best do. And you try to employ this person in that capacity that's good for the work, that's good for the person. Okay. So, for example, I think nobody will try to employ me as a bank accountant, because it will be a disaster. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, the bank will be bankrupt in 2 days. Okay. So I can do certain things and I cannot do certain things. The person who is putting me into work will have to understand that. So, coming back to your specific question, yes, I would not recommend that the stutterer would take the job of a newscaster in a television. No. Okay. There are other people who can do that job better. And this, everybody will have to understand that I can do some things well. I cannot do also some things very well. I can do them, but not very well. Okay. So we will take the people who are best suited for the job. For example, if it is writing the news material in the newsroom, I see no reason why I should not take a stutterer, because it does not involve really talking. That thing is publicly broadcast. So in that way, a person can do. Now, in the field that I know, let's say education, okay, should I employ, let's say, a stammerer? Yes and no. It depends on the degree of stammering. Let me be very clear and honest with you. With just a smiled stammering, like what you are, like what I am now seeing in you, there should not be any problem in considering you for a teacher's job or a professor's job. Okay. But if a person stammers very much, then I would say, yeah, don't do it. You can do some other things better, and let's do those things. So that would be my answer.
Uh, yes, sir. And my target is to be an like that IAS officer. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, just a second. There was some part which was cut off. Can you please repeat what you said? You said your target is to be an IAS officer.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that what you
Yes,
said?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 I don't see why that target should be unreachable for you. Okay. I mean, you know, being an IAS officer is not easy. I mean, let's forget about the stammering part. Even otherwise,
Yes, sir.
it's not easy. You have to go through a very difficult exam.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 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 you have to prepare for other things, except, apart from your
Stammering.
stammering problem. I have actually been involved with this IAS selection procedure. I mean, not really selection procedure, but the preparation procedure. For some time now, there is a institute here which gives training for IAS aspirants,
So
and
Tendra
part
Tagore.
of no, it's another one whose name I cannot remember now, but it's near Salt Lake City Center.
Mm.
Um, it's something aspirants. The last A is aspirants, but I cannot remember the full thing, because usually it's just the acronym which is used. Anyway, they okay. First of all, the IAS aspirants have to take a written exam.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And once they pass the written exam, then there is an interview, right? So I was asked with other people to conduct mock interviews. Okay. So I'm familiar with the scenario of what goes on there, and it's a tough exam. So yeah,
Very
I
tough.
mean, that, yeah, very tough. And yes, but I see no reason why you cannot do it. I mean, you have got admission to MSc in Calcutta University, which is one of the top universities, and I think it's one of the best departments in a top university.
Yes, sir.
So there is no reason that you shouldn't be able to do it, but you have to work hard. It
Yes.
will not come automatically. I
Yes,
can
sir.
assure
That's
you that. Okay, you'll have to work hard. Yeah,
uh
good.
uh uh how my uh, uh yeah. So before like I was thinking that maybe this problem of stammering will cause a problem, uh, uh, like in getting the job. But uh, but now I don't think
No,
so.
no, I also don't think so. Why should it? Why should, no? I don't think so. Okay. As I said, there are probably some duties of an IAS which will not be, for which you will not be the most suitable person. Okay, but then there are many other duties, okay, for which you will you will probably be the most suitable person anyway. So yeah, so yeah, I don't see any problem from that. However, that doesn't mean that you wouldn't like to improve further with
Yes,
this
sir.
problem. Yeah,
Yes, sir. Definitely. Uh,
yeah.
uh, uh, yes. So my next question is that people don't laugh about the epileptic disease, but people do laugh when a person stammers. Why do you think so?
um Honestly, I don't know, or don't know, but probably, I mean, I don't know, and I don't understand why one would laugh at any of these problems, whether it's physical, mental, psychological, any of these things. I don't know. But probably some of the things that people can actually see the reason for, or can see something in with the eyes, makes people more aware that there is this problem. And for some other things, it's not obvious. I mean, like when a person sees you, okay, a person doesn't automatically think that you have a difficulty in your speech, right? Whereas when a person sees a lame person, or a blind person, then the person knows. Even for blind person, blind doesn't automatically mean that you don't have the eyes, right? You might have the eyes, but the eyes cannot see. And those people have some problems with the discrimination and so on, which is again very unkind and very cruel. But in that case, I can at least understand that, okay, that the other person did not realize. But after the realization, then it should be a different way of dealing with the person. I mean, I'm not saying that you'll have to be patronizing for that, okay, because that also is not the way to go. I mean, there is nothing to be patronizing about. I mean, it's not. mm, I mean, you are one person and I am one person, and we have our strengths and our weaknesses. Each of us has our strengths and our weaknesses, so it should be taken very casually. But yeah, as I said, I really don't know a very good answer to your question, except for saying that some things are obvious and some things are not so obvious, and that there is a difference between these two kinds, I guess. But I don't even know whether that's the uh, main driving force for the psychological uh, reaction to the people.
Uh, yes, sir. That's fine. And have you seen a person who stammers uh, uh, holding a post of big means big post holding a big post?
Okay, now I have to reveal the identities of some people I mentioned earlier. I mentioned one person who was born left handed.
Yes, sir.
That is my brother.
Yeah.
Okay. He is now, I mean, now means, as you can imagine, I am 66 years old. My brother is 63 years old. So for a long while, he has been an architect, and a very successful architect. Has held positions in our country and in other countries and so on. And even now, after his normal retirement age, he is invited to give advice to many places. So he is a big success. I mean, not only is he successful as an architect, he's also a poet. And of course, writing poetry doesn't involve speaking. So, but sometimes he is invited to this poet conferences, okay, where he has to read his poem, and occasionally he stammers. Okay, so what? He does. Fine. But
Yes.
nobody makes a big deal about it. So that is one person. The other person that I talked about, one of my uncles,
Yeah.
that's my Meshomoshai, my mother's sister's husband, who was also a very good friend of my father. I mean, before he got married to my mother's sister. I mean, in fact, that's how they got married, because he was my
Okay.
father's friend. Okay, so he was this person who developed a beautiful style of speaking, you know, and he would start a sentence, and then he would stop because he cannot pronounce the next word. Then he had many how should I say, many strategies. For sometimes he would say a completely different word, sometimes he would say, okay, but before that, and he completely changes the subject, okay, and goes on to speak something else, and he would come back to this later, but nobody knows that it is because of the stammering, okay, to the extent that my father and this person, my uncle, they were sort of the spokespersons of the labor union um, in their company, okay. And after a while, my father got a little bit disappointed. I mean, after a while means around 1963 or 64. My father got a little bit disappointed with the way the things are done, and he disassociated himself with the thing. But my uncle went on till the time he retired, which was in 1985 or something. Okay, and he would be the spokesperson uh, for the union. Even when they had a big meeting in Mumbai, he would go from here. Okay, so you can imagine, okay, that even with his stuttering, he would be the best person to represent the union. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so yes, I know of many success stories, and I am sure I also do not know of many other success stories, and I will be very happy to know about more success stories in the future. Yeah, but I'm sure that it can be done. Yes, I have no hesitation about it.
Uh, yes, sir. And yeah, so well, I stammered a bit uh, uh, a few times during this meet. Yeah, so did you have a problem uh,
In understanding
understanding
you,
me? Yeah, understanding me.
no, I did not have any problem understanding you. Okay, and as I said earlier, if I hadn't known, I would have probably thought that this is your speaking style. Okay, you can probably try to just use your hands to make it into a more
Yes, sir.
visually appealing speaking style, so you just do like this and that, so that that's
Yes, sir.
yeah. So I no, I had no trouble understanding you. In fact, sometimes I have much more trouble understanding people who do not have any stammering problem, just because they are not speaking, in my opinion, coherently. I mean coherently means not a mental thing, but Well, for example, some of the business people, I do not understand what they say, because first of all, uh, they invent truth whenever, whatever is convenient for them sometimes, and I have trouble with that. Anyway, let's not let's not get into that. So, but no, with you, I had absolutely no problem understanding.
Uh, Thank you, sir, and that's the uh, okay. So that's the
That's the end of the
end of the
interview.
interview.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir. আমি মানে
And
তাহলে বন্ধ করে দিচ্ছি মানে রেকর্ডিংটা।